It all began simply. They met in college, sophomore year, shared cheap coffee, talked about the future. She was Emma, quiet but stubborn, the kind of woman who never raised her voice but always had the last word. He was Michael, easygoing, kind, but with one weakness. He could never say no to his mother. They married in spring, full of hope and promises. Emma thought she was building a new life. But she wasn't. She was entering a life already built without her. Michael's mother, Linda, didn't dislike Emma. She just looked at her the way some people look at guests who've stayed a little too long, polite, but uneasy. She didn't shout. She didn't criticize directly. She simply knew everything better. You shouldn't use olive oil for frying, it burns too fast. That baby blanket looks too thin. You should keep the house cooler, Michael never liked the heat. At first, Emma smiled, nodded, tried to please her. But that smile began to fade. And Michael, caught between them, always said the same thing. Come on, don't get upset. Mom just wants to help. But help turned into something else. Especially after their daughter, Lily, was born. Linda started visiting every day, to lend a hand. But soon it wasn't help, it was supervision. She rearranged the kitchen. She changed how the baby slept. She even corrected the way Emma sang lullabies. You young moms think you know better than experience, she'd say, folding baby clothes into perfect squares. Emma began to feel like a stranger in her own home. The walls smelled of Linda's perfume. Her advice hung in the air like steam from overboiled soup. And Michael stayed silent. One night in February, it finally snapped. Dinner was ready. Linda had brought her famous stew, thick, heavy, the kind that sits in your stomach like regret. Emma had made a light soup with vegetables and herbs. I'll pass on yours, Linda said. It upsets my stomach. That's fine, Emma replied quietly. She might have stopped there. But she didn't. She whispered, just loud enough. No one asked you to eat it. The words cut sharper than either of them expected. Linda put down her spoon. So that's how it is. I'm the problem now. After everything I've done for you too. Michael stared at his plate. Emma stood up, took her pot of soup, and put it in the fridge. Yes, she said finally. You're the problem. I can't breathe in my own house anymore. Silence. Thick, suffocating silence. The next morning, Linda packed her things and left. Michael didn't argue. That evening, he said only. You didn't have to talk to her like that. Emma didn't reply. And something cold settled between them. Weeks turned into months. They barely spoke. Michael visited his mother more often. He started bringing food she made, casseroles, cookies, setting them on the table like peace offerings. Emma never touched them. One evening he said quietly, I can't live like this, Em. Between you and Mom, I'm always the bad guy. She didn't argue. She just packed a bag for her and Lily and went to her mother's place. A year later, they divorced. No shouting. No lawyers. Just exhaustion. Emma rented a small apartment. She worked, took care of Lily, and learned to sleep without tension in her chest. It was lonely, but it was hers. Sometimes Michael called. Sometimes he came by to see their daughter. And one day he said, Mom misses Lily. Emma paused, then said softly, She can visit. As long as she comes as a grandmother, not as a judge. And for the first time in years, they all sat in the same kitchen. Emma, Michael, Linda, drinking tea. No stew, no arguments, no tension. Just quiet. Just people who had finally learned how much peace costs. Because sometimes, to rebuild what's real, you first have to let everything else fall apart.